This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. I'm delighted to meet with you here in these online lessons. In this video, I'm going to go over two really great movable chord shapes for major sixth chords. So in the lesson series, we've been working in first position on major and minor sixth chords that we play on the guitar. Now we're going to take a look at the movable shapes. These work the same as bar chords, meaning we learn one form and we can use it all across the fretboard to play different versions, different keys of that chord. So once I've gone over these voicings and we've taken a look at them, we're going to jam together on some chord progressions right along with bass and drums accompaniment, which is super fun. So you can work on mastering these chord shapes here with me in this video. So this video accompanies lesson 23 from my Chords and Harmony Books 1 and 2 method book. In the book, we're going to start on page 159 as we take a look at these shapes, and then we'll be playing some of the chord progressions found throughout lesson 23 on some later pages. Okay, so in the previous lessons, we've learned that major sixth chords are major chords where the sixth step of the major scale is added to the chord. So normally for a major chord, we have a root, a third, and a fifth, and then now we're going to add that sixth to the chord, and that gives us this major sixth chord sound, which is super fun. So with the shapes I have up here on the board, we have a shape that has the root on the sixth string, and we have a shape that has a root on the fifth string. This works the same as it did when we were learning bar chords on the guitar. So wherever we put this root note along the fretboard, that is going to be the version that we're playing. So if we stick this on a G note, we'll be playing a G6 chord. If we stick it on a C note, we'll be playing C6. Same thing with this one, only it's going to be on the fifth string. If we stick it on a C, we're going to be playing C6. If we stick it on a D, we're playing D6. If we stick it on an F, we're playing F6. So that's how that works. Let's look at each one of these shapes. These aren't bar chords in that they don't use a bar, but we have no open strings. That's why we're able to move them around. We're not going to be playing the fifth string or the top string with this sixth string form. We're going to have that root, of course, and we're going to play that with our middle finger, and then we've got index finger, 1 fret lower, 2 strings higher, and then we've got the ring finger in the same fret as the root and the pinky in the 3rd fret, or I should say 1 fret higher than the root. It's in the 3rd fret of the comparison there. So if we played this with, for example, a C6, so I got my middle finger up on the C note at the 8th fret on that 6th string. If I played that there, I would have C6 just like that. I'm using my middle finger to collapse on the 5th string so it doesn't ring as I'm strumming, and then my other fingers can collapse on that top string so that it doesn't ring either. I'm mostly catching it a little bit with that index finger there. So that's how that is. Middle finger and index, and then ring and pinky. Super, super beautiful chord. So that's how the 6th string form works. Let's look at the 5th string form. This one physically is a little bit more demanding because we have to reach with a whole fret gap between that middle finger and that ring finger, and that is a big stretch. So this one's a little bit challenging, but this is our fifth string form. We're going to similarly have middle finger and index spread apart by 1 string there and 1 fret. And then the way that I tend to find this easiest to grab is to think of the bar chord that has that dominant 7th shape. So my ring and pinky are in a similar fashion there. And if I had a bar chord, it would just be that bar chord. That bar would just go across where my index finger or my middle finger is going to play that root note. But my index finger would play that bar there, and I would have a dominant 7th. Now, to get the 6th in the chord, we don't have the bar, and we've got to grab with our index finger 1 fret lower than the root. So if I play the F6, if I were to play that F7 shape, it's just like so. Now I'm going to put my middle finger on the root, and that's a big stretch between those fingers. And then I add my index finger to that 3rd string, and you get F6. Beautiful chord, but harder to finger. So it may help you to go back and forth between the C6 and the F6. Just try and get used to finding those two voicings. It can also be helpful to work your way around the circle of force, which is what happens with the first chord progression that we're going to play. And you'll remember from previous videos, like where we worked on those 7th chords, we have that C to the F, then we get the B flat to the E flat, A flat, D flat. And you can look at chord progression number 1 as I'm explaining this, found on page 161. But I got the D flat, then the G flat, B, E, A, D, G, and C. Or if I don't want to end that low, I can come up higher. But you can just work your way around that chord progression, playing those chords, just trying to find them. Nice and easy. With the one off the 5th string, I always tend to find where my ring and pinky fingers go first as an anchor. That's the way that physically I'm able to get comfortable and get it to ring. Down in first position, it's especially a big reach. So this was one of the chords that was like a Mount Everest for me. Kind of like when I first learned to play the guitar, F was really hard. Then you get to this major 6th chord and it is a challenging one, but you can get that flexibility happening between those 2 fingers. Okay, so we're going to jam together on some chord progressions so we can practice working on these. We are going to do numbers 1. We'll start with number 1, which goes around the circle of force, and then 23, then number 3, then number 14. So 1, 23, 3, 14. Of course, that'll show up here on the board as we're playing those so you'll know where we're at. Each one will happen twice, first at a slower tempo and then a faster tempo. Anything in 3-4, we're going to treat those chord progressions as though they're written in 4-4 for our purposes here in this video. I'm going to start off by using this do dot strumming pattern. These are taught on page 92, some swing strumming patterns. I'm going to use U and V. So I'll sometimes use that do dot, and some of the times I'll do that strumming 4 to the bar. You can use any of those types of patterns found there on page 92 for swing. You can also use others if you know others. Just pick something that's comfortable and easy for you as you get started working on these chords. So you may run into some 7th chords that we've learned from lesson 22. There are chord diagrams in that lesson if you can't remember how to play any of the chords that we run into. And you just get to pick the voicing. Sometimes you have a couple of choices. I'm going to generally start towards the center part of the neck and then just shift as little as possible. Sometimes we end up getting down too low and then I will make a jump up high, but in general, moving from one chord to the next, I'm going to try and shift as little as possible. So that's how I'm going to go about it. But if you choose a different voicing with these movable chords than me, that's completely fine. But it's going to be great. Let's go ahead and play these progressions together. Okay, fantastic. In the next video, we're going to take a look at the movable shapes for minor 6 chords. So we're going to work on some minor 6 chords. That'll be super fun. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to check out more great content. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.